over the last year and a half, I've stepped into breathwork pretty intensely, and in a session, in a very, very, very powerful, deep, long, rebirthing breathwork session, I try to set an intention before I go into breathwork. Breathwork it's work, dude.
Yes.
It's work, and it's scary, physically and emotionally for me. I don't know what's going to happen in these sessions. Like, I'm in recovery for a long time, and so plant medicine is not a journey that I'm comfortable taking on my own. And who knows what the future has, but like now I just know that like it's not something for
Makes
me.
sense.
And if I get a calling for it down the road, who knows, man, maybe. But I've found that kind of my curiosity and the discovery element of breath work, I think fills that cup for me that potentially some of the plant medicine journeys would do. But I always like to set an intention. And the guy who holds space for me always asks me to set an intention. And so in this one particular session, I just did not set an intention. All I said was I would really love to just continue to peel back the onion because of how much dirt this breath work has moved around for me.
Yeah.
So we got into the session, and out the gate, I kind of dropped in almost immediately. And 5 minutes in, my whole body was buzzing, and there was a lot of energy happening in my body from my head to my toes, and I just felt it like, when you're doing that kind of breath work, and it's like a very visceral kind of, like you feel it in your body, like the energy moving. And it was so intense that it was almost scary. I was like, wait a second, am I having a heart attack? Like, this is scary. Like my hand, like everything seizes up, and I'm used to that.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this one was intense. And then all of a sudden, I just got hit with a brick of sadness, just deep, deep, guttural, very, very like, just, it felt like literally there was somebody inside my soul just digging, and just moving, just digging, deep hole. And all of a sudden, the thought came to me. Every decision that I've ever made in my life, good and bad, has been in an effort to get my father to tell me he loved me. And that was like rough because my father's dead, and he's been dead for a long time. And I was in such deep active addiction when he died that like we really didn't, like he was in a coma, and I had one day with him by myself or one evening where I kind of, was high as a kite, but I was like able to articulate some sort of, I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you kind of thing. Anyway, we were going through the work, and I was super emotional, dude. Like I felt like I had like, gallons of tears came, and so we're in this thing, and towards the very end, the breathwork practitioner that I work with is very, very good at pulling on strings, and really, really good at curating music specifically to just continue to just go, And he saw me at this moment where he was just like, he told me afterwards, he was like, I just had to push you further because I just knew that there was going to be something there. And so he put on a song that just, it was like the last nail in the coffin for me, man. It just opened me up. And I'm so happy he did that because I kind of had this moment where, and I know this sounds a little woo-woo, so anybody listening to this has never experienced breath work, whatever, just understand that I'm being totally honest, and I'm not bullshitting or trying to sound like, I'm not making this up. I had an outer body experience, and I kind of left my body in my head, in my mind. I left my body, and I saw myself from like as if I was lying on the ground, on the floor of my office, and I saw my body kind of looking up at it from underground.
Hey guys, I want to share something brand new designed for high-performing men like you who want to win at home, not just at work. Our team developed this program over the past 8 years by collecting the best ideas, strategies, and habits from hundreds of men. It's all in one place to give you the best results in the shortest amount of time, because if you're a married man with kids and a business, there is no time to waste. This experience creates deep transformation, not just taking notes and talking about change. It's about doing what matters now so you don't miss the moments when your kids need you the most. These opportunities will come and go very quickly. It's also about building a marriage that shows your kids what real love looks like, creating an environment where they and you thrive. Look, marriage is tough. I've personally walked the line of divorce several times, and without the tools I've gained from this community, I might not be married today. And it's not just about being a great dad or a husband. It's about fulfilling your personal mission, thriving as a man, making an impact through your work, gaining time freedom, financial freedom, traveling the world, and giving to the causes you care about. This program is designed to keep you mentally, physically, and spiritually strong. You do not need to do this alone. Our badass community of intentional fathers are going to help you raise the bar. You're going to learn from each other, hold each other accountable, find your blind spots, and achieve success most dads will never see. It's time to dig deep, gain clarity, and create real change starting now. If you're ready to evolve, visit frontrowdads.com today. We've got limited spots available for this brand new program.
At an angle this way. And I wasn't in my office in the vision. I was somewhere else, but there was a door in the corner. And as I was looking up at myself, and my father walked in the door. And my father was young. He was probably in his like 30s, 40s, maybe my age now, something like that. And he looked really healthy. And towards the end of his life, he looked anything but healthy. And he walked in, and he didn't even acknowledge that I was there. I just saw him walk in, and he was like kind of looking around. And then he walked in my direction, and then I immediately went back into my body, and I was there on the floor. And he kind of walked over to me, kneeled down next to me, came very close to my face, his face to my face. He put his hands through my hair, and he whispered, "I love you."
Wow. Whoa.
Yeah.
Dude.
And it was just like, I couldn't believe it, dude. I was like, you know, it was like, I still can't believe it, right? But it was this feeling of relief. You know, it was a real relieving feeling that happened for me. And when I came out of it, it took me a while to resurface. But once I did, you know, I sat with Mike and I was like, man, like that vision. And he was like, well, you know, you can say that that's a vision. You can believe that it was a vision or a fabrication of your imagination. Or you can just understand that could have very well happened for you. And your dad does and did love you. He just didn't know how to tell you. And he was dealing with his own shit. And you were unfortunately a victim of his pain. And man, like, you know, so that experience for me has given me such like freedom, you know, and I don't know, you know, like anybody who's listening here and who has that relationship to their father, I'm not saying that you're going to have the same experience in breathwork, but I am going to say some of the most powerful therapy that I've ever experienced in my life, actually not some of, the most powerful therapy that I've had in my life. And I've had an enormous amount of therapy between 12-step programs, mentors, sponsors, therapists, like all of it. Breathwork, hands down, 100%, has done so much more for me. And actually...
Isn't that wild?
Dude, it's just allowed me to see. It's allowed me to see, you know, you can talk all day. You could talk about your problems. You can have somebody analyze them for you. You can have somebody sitting on the other side of the table asking you questions to try to unearth and uncover things that are, you know, like, you know, in your head, in your psyche. But to see things is a very, very different experience. And I'm able to see things through breath work. Like I can, it's almost tangible, it's a different experience.
Can you get there on your own? When you're doing breath work by yourself versus guided with music and somebody else taking you on a journey?
Not as well as I do with someone holding space.
Same. Yeah.
Like there, it's I can drop in on my own, but there is something unique about someone who has done this hundreds, maybe thousands of times. Their ability to get cues on when to turn the volume up and turn the volume down, I really do think make a difference,
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same. I am thinking about, we have had a couple of Front Row Dad events. Last 2 years, we have one in December. It's about 125 guys in the room. And the first year, I was like, we've never done this at an event before, but I have a buddy of mine, Stefanos, who
Somebody was just telling me about him.
he's a men's coach. I was hanging with him last night. Great dude, incredible, like literally one of the top coaches probably in the world, men's coaches in the world. He led breath work for us. It was 2.5 hours deep, holotropic type breath work, and he had the music. He did exactly what you're talking about. And dude, some of these guys showed up to this event. We're like, welcome to the event. They literally walked in the front door. There's yoga mats and blankets on all over this floor. They're like, what is happening? And within 30 minutes, they're doing breath work with Stefanos. Like, this is their opening night. And I can't even begin to tell you the impact that it had on that room. And for all the reasons that you just said, and I hope that anybody listening, if they haven't had the journey into breath work, that they go and find a place where they can experience this, because I have a lot of guys in our group that are very well read, very well, coached, very well connected and have listened to dozens of podcasts and audiobooks, and they've thought about a lot of shit. But the minute that you go inward, the minute that you activate your breath, and for all the other reasons that we haven't talked about that may be at play with breath work, that is a place that I've seen more tears, more breakthroughs. That is in some ways beautiful because it's coming from within. It's not being coached out of a person with a direct question, which I agree on the power of one-to-one mentorship. And at the same time, there is something beautiful when it's just a space that you're leaning into. And because of this, what's happening through music and maybe verbal prompts or whatever it is, you're invited to go on a journey, but you're in your own space. And maybe because you don't have to talk it out loud, maybe that's what allows us to get there. Maybe there's more listening to ourselves in that process, not just repeating.
Thanks for listening today, fellas. If you got value from this episode, I ask that you take 1 second right now and you share this with another dad in your life that you respect, that you know is committed to becoming a better man, family man, and businessman. And on that note, I want to honor you for choosing growth. Your family will thank you years from now for all the effort that you're putting in to learn the strategies so you can show up more fully for them today. Take care.